Good morning everyone, welcome to Crypto and Stock Market HQKH. Here are the most important international developments currently affecting global security, energy markets, financial markets, the world economy and climate conditions from first week of August 2026. 1. Iran denies immediate U.S. talks as Hormuz negotiations remain uncertain. Tensions surrounding Iran and the Strait of Hormuz remain one of the most important global developments. U.S. President Donald Trump had indicated that negotiations with Iran were expected to begin after Washington postponed another potential military attack. However, Iran's foreign ministry later denied that direct negotiations with the United States were underway or that an immediate meeting had been arranged. Iran said it was instead discussing a temporary safe maritime route with Oman. Tehran also maintained that an agreement with Oman alone would not be enough to restore normal shipping while U.S. military pressure continued. The conflicting statements show that diplomatic efforts remain fragile and that no comprehensive agreement has yet been confirmed. And do you know why it matters? Because the Strait of Hormuz is a strategically important route for global oil and gas supplies. Any progress toward reopening shipping routes could lower energy prices, while a breakdown in diplomacy could quickly increase oil, transportation, and insurance costs. Two, Russia and Ukraine exchange deadly long-range attacks. Russia and Ukraine have continued exchanging drone and missile attacks far beyond the main battlefield. Russian officials reported that a Ukrainian drone attack on a holiday area in southern Russia killed several people, including children. Ukraine had not immediately commented on the specific incident. Both governments deny intentionally targeting civilians, but the expanding use of drones and missiles is increasing risks for communities far from the front line. And do you know why it matters? Because the continuing attacks reduce prospects for near-term peace negotiations and could increase pressure on European governments to provide Ukraine with additional air defense systems.
Go!
3. Ukraine appoints Rustem Umerov to lead foreign intelligence. Ukraine has appointed senior security official and peace negotiator Rustem Umerov to lead the country's foreign intelligence service. Umerov has played an important role in Ukraine's international negotiations and national security planning. His appointment comes as Kyiv faces continued Russian attacks and growing pressure to strengthen its military intelligence, international partnerships, and long-term defense strategy. And do you know why it matters? Because Ukraine's intelligence leadership plays a critical role in identifying Russian military plans, protecting strategic infrastructure, and supporting diplomatic negotiations. Four, severe heat and wildfires strain Europe's energy systems. Southeastern Europe is confronting a dangerous combination of extreme heat, drought, wildfires, and energy shortages. Romania has taken emergency measures to increase water flow in the Danube after low river levels affected cooling operations at the Cernavodă nuclear power plant. Industrial production at some factories was also temporarily suspended to reduce pressure on the electricity system. Hungary and Serbia are facing similar concerns as low water levels weaken nuclear and hydropower generation. Meanwhile, hundreds of firefighters and aircraft continue battling a major wildfire northwest of Athens. The fire has destroyed homes, forests, and farmland, while 2 crew members reportedly died in a firefighting helicopter accident. And do you know why it matters? Extreme heat is no longer only an environmental problem. It is disrupting electricity generation, transportation, manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism across Europe. Five, oil prices fall and global stocks rise on hopes of de-escalation. Global markets strengthened after the United States postponed further attacks on Iran and investors became more hopeful about a possible diplomatic solution. Oil prices declined sharply as traders considered the possibility that shipping through the Strait of Hormuz could improve US and European stock markets gained, while several major technology companies supported the broader market recovery. However, Iran's denial that direct U.S. negotiations were taking place showed that market optimism may be premature. The Japanese yen also strengthened following intervention aimed at stabilizing the currency. And do you know why it matters? Because lower oil prices could ease inflation pressure and support stocks, bonds, and cryptocurrencies. Nevertheless, markets could reverse quickly if US-Iran tensions escalate again. Six, global factories face weaker demand and rising costs. Manufacturers across several major economies experienced weaker demand and higher production costs during July. Disruption to Middle Eastern energy supplies and shipping routes contributed to higher input costs, while new factory orders weakened in China, India, and parts of Europe. Japan was a notable exception, reporting stronger manufacturing activity supported partly by demand connected to artificial intelligence and advanced technology. Inflation also remained elevated in Europe, raising concerns that central banks may need to maintain restrictive interest rate policies. And do you know why it matters? Because slower manufacturing activity can affect employment, exports, company profits, and global economic growth. Persistent cost pressures may also delay interest rate cuts. Seven, World Bank warns global growth remains vulnerable. The World Bank expects global economic growth to slow to approximately 2.5% in 2026 before potentially improving in 2027 and 2028. The institution identified Middle East conflict, higher energy prices, renewed inflation, trade disruption, and policy uncertainty as major threats to the global outlook. The World Bank has also warned that a more severe expansion of the Middle East conflict could produce a significantly weaker growth outcome. At the country level, the World Bank maintained its 2026 growth forecast for the Philippines at 3.7%, while highlighting the need for stronger investment, productivity, and employment creation. And do you know why it matters? Because if slower global growth can weaken international trade, reduce investment, and increase financial pressure on developing countries already facing high debt and borrowing costs. And here are the main developments to watch. The most market-sensitive issue remains the confrontation involving the United States and Iran. Reports of diplomacy helped push oil prices lower and global stocks higher, but Iran has denied that direct talks are currently taking place. Investors should therefore remain cautious until an agreement on the Strait of Hormuz or a broader ceasefire is officially confirmed. European heatwaves and wildfires are another major concern because they are beginning to affect electricity production, factories, agriculture, and transportation, not only public health and the environment. These stories remain developing. Official statements, casualty figures, negotiations, and market prices may change during the day. Thank you for watching. Please follow Crypto and Stock Market HQKH for professional updates on global news, cryptocurrency, financial markets, and the world economy. From our team, we wish you happiness, success, and prosperity.